for creative learning, try to always to be better, and always they are trying to make changes. The student should be an active part in the lesson, and also should be motivated to speak up and express his own and personal opinion in order to develop self-esteem. And this may be one thing that Ms. Deepali, she mentioned, the opinions, so sometimes it helps. And no child left behind. One of the things that I learned from here. It's not one of the many things I learned. Okay.
Thank you very much. Deepali, tell us something that you learned here in the U.S. that you think will make you a stronger educator or education administrator when you return to India.
Molly, the first lesson I've learned here is teachers, they need to have a right aptitude and attitude towards this profession. Secondly, principals have a huge responsibility to create a healthy environment in the school. By which I mean to say there should be a respect of opinions of each other, to the multiple perspectives. At the same time, there should be some openness about agree to disagree with the opinions. I feel the communication is the key. A good listener can be a good speaker. So this quality should be every school administrator should imbibe to have a better prospect. So this is, I've learned a huge lesson. And I should mention the name of my mentor, Dr. Kathleen Buckley. She had given us this lesson.
Excellent. Thank you so much. All right. And then we're going to move to your recommendations. What recommendations do you have for schools here in the United States based on your experiences teaching back home in Yemen and in India? Dr. Al-Arashi?
I found the school system in America, they focus on MCAS and standardized tests, which I feel that they put the students under stress the whole year since third grade, which I feel that they should little bit reform it, or at least reduce the standardized test, and because the teacher teach the student not for the sake of learning but for testing. And the second recommendation is appreciate culture more, understand other cultures and others' history more, so they will understand the background of the students. To apply social justice in schools, and to have a unified uniform. I feel this is much better, so the students feel they are in school, they can dress properly, because sometimes if they can use an appropriate clothes because there is no uniform, a unified uniform. And I feel that it's important that students, when they reach the high school, to choose their favorite topics and favorite subjects, because we can find students, they love math, and there are others who hate math and love reading. So it's not appropriate to judge the students only in math and language arts. That's my point of view, and now maybe people would say.
Excellent. It's your point of view. Own it. Own it. Thank you so much. Deepali, what recommendations do you have for U.S. schools?
I would like to share one quote by the great Indian leader Mahatma Gandhi. The teacher is an example by his or her attitudes and values. Therefore, they should possess the qualities which they want to inculcate in the pupils. But from the school administrative point of view, with the due respect of the U.S. education system, I have few suggestions because the parental involvement may not be the cultural expectation in many cultures, but still, school should not ignore the silent parents. There should be a good communication between the school and the parents by the various, the school administrator can experiment on certain things, maybe through the translators, through the written forms, through the phone calls, but there should be always open communication. And it should not be only when there is some problem with the students. It should be all the time, the communication should be there. School should find a multiple ways to find out the communication. And the last but not the least, before entering to this teaching profession, the prospective teachers, they should have some knowledge about the teaching methodologies. There should be some introduction for the teaching methodologies, the way we have B.Ed and B.Ed in India. Thank you.
Excellent. Once again, we're going to flip it around. What recommendations do you have based on your experiences teaching in the United States for the improvement of the educational experience of children, administrators, and teachers in Yemen and in India? Dr. Al-Arashi?
I have many recommendations. Number one is develop a curriculum based on child-centered and critical thinking. Change the old traditional ways of teaching and try to integrate technology. Advocate some learning and psychologist theories such as P.F. Skinner, Howard Gardner, and John Berners in education. Integrate scientific education based on critical thinking and problem solving. Provide frequent professional development for teachers and the school administrators. Pay attention to special needs students. Apply social justice. Increase public awareness of the value of women's experience and the potential of women in the development of the country. And I love the African proverb that said, to educate a man, you educate an individual, and to educate a woman, you educate a nation. And I'm sorry to say that, but that's the truth. And design curricula that meet the current gender equality needs of the society. And last but not least, education should be obligatory for all children. And according to Glowthorne, Croce, and Whitehead 2009, education is no longer seen as a privilege but as a right for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Deepali, what recommendations do you have for schools in India based on your experiences here in the U.S.?
Thank you, Molly. Every education system has their own strength and weaknesses, but I have few suggestions for my country, India. That we have a textbook pattern there. That means a similar textbook throughout the state. They have similar lessons. So it is a kind of a cookie cutter approach which should not be applicable to all the kids. Every child is different. I have observed here in USA the curriculum is more child-centered, where in India it is more subject-centered or teacher-centered. But if we can build a model, in which it's a fusion of child-centered curriculum as well as the subject-centered curriculum, it would be an awesome combination. I think we should implement that model into the education system. Next is, there should be more motivation for the students in learning the soft skills, like the communication or the interpersonal skills, the more encouragement for the sports and the overall personality development. The eminent philosopher from India, Rabindranath Tagore, just said, a lamp can never light another lamp unless it continues to burn its own flame. Teachers are lifelong learners, so they should also they should be more vigilant towards their own professional development by acquiring new skills which they can practice for the betterment of the children. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, ladies. So now it's y'all's turn. We welcome you to ask any questions that you have regarding the research, the experiences, and the recommendations that you've heard tonight.
Can we give them a round of applause?
You can absolutely. Doesn't it make you want to just go back to school and study? This makes me want to quit my job and go back to school. So, questions for our panelists.
I guess I'll start. Are you guys planning on going back to Yemen and India at any point after you're done studying for you, or to move back, or is your plan to stay in the U.S.? I'm just curious to get that perspective.
Hopefully I will go back. Hopefully when the things get better in Yemen, hopefully we'll go back.
Same thing goes with me because I have altogether 7 years of teaching experience from India, and with that degree from United States, I will have a red carpet welcome there, be an administrator. So definitely yes.
Good question. Yes, ma'am.
For the both of you, in your respective countries, how difficult would it be to implement some of the things that you guys are talking about, taking from here and taking it back to your countries? How difficult would it be to implement those things there?
Could you please elaborate this?
So if you were to, you talked about certain things that, like making sure that it was more student-centered in India. So if you took this notion back to India, how easy or difficult would it be for you to implement those things?
Definitely in India it won't be that easy because it's a huge population. We have 29 states, 7 union territories. So it is going to be difficult, but yes, somewhere and somehow we have to start for the betterment of students.
It is not easy because we have many barriers like culture, we have financial barrier, like when we need to integrate technology, we don't have these facilities that we can integrate technology in all the schools and introduce internet in all schools. That is very difficult. So we have the financial barriers, we have cultural barriers. For example, I want to talk about including female writers, Yemeni female in the curriculum, because we have the tribal side and we have many different classes in the society. But we need to introduce and to provide workshops, and we need to develop awareness on people. They need to know about this because we can't change things immediately. We need time, or we need steps, and through the time I found Yemen has been growing and moved, and there is a lot of progress during maybe the 15 years